What if the only reason your life feels heavy, the only reason your mind keeps racing, is because no one ever taught you how powerful you truly are? What if the overthinking that's been draining you for years isn't a flaw, but a habit your brain learned during moments you were just trying to survive? Think about that. What if every fear, every what if this goes wrong, every sleepless night wasn't evidence of weakness, but evidence of how deeply your mind has been trying to protect you? But here's the part no one tells you. If your brain learned to overthink, it can also unlearn it. If it memorized fear, it can memorize peace. If it rehearsed doubt, it can rehearse clarity. And it doesn't take years. It doesn't take a miracle. It takes one decision, one interruption, one new pattern. And in the next 30 minutes, you're going to discover that you are not an overthinker. You are simply someone who has never shown the switch that turns the noise off. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, your brain will not think the same. Your heart will not fear the same. And you will not be the same. What if the biggest lie you've believed your whole life is that I'm just an overthinker, this is who I am, when in reality, overthinking is not your identity. It's a habit your brain accidentally mastered. Think about it. You weren't born overthinking. You didn't come into this world doubting yourself, replaying conversations, or imagining worst-case scenarios. Those patterns were learned. They were shaped by moments when you felt unsafe, unheard, unprepared, or unprotected. And here's the shocking part. Your brain wasn't trying to hurt you. It was trying to protect you. Every time something went wrong, your mind said, let me think more so I don't get hurt again. And the more you repeated that loop, the stronger it became, not because it was natural, but because it was practiced. Your brain is a machine of repetition. Whatever you repeat, your brain wires. Whatever you fear, your brain memorizes. Whatever you imagine, your brain rehearses. Overthinking feels automatic only because you've rehearsed it so many times that your mind now runs it like a background app you never downloaded but somehow can't uninstall. Here's the truth that flips everything. If your brain learned to overthink, it can unlearn it. Just as a muscle grows from repetition, a mental habit fades from interruption. Neuroscience shows that your thoughts carve literal pathways in your brain. Every what if this goes wrong creates a groove. Every what if they leave deepens it. Every what if I'm not enough strengthens it. Until one day, without you realizing, overthinking becomes your default route. But imagine this. What if you stopped feeding those pathways? What if you interrupted them long enough for the brain to build new ones? Pathways of clarity, pathways of certainty. If you spend years thinking, worrying, doubting, replaying, predicting, imagining worst-case scenarios, your brain sees that as the safe route. It doesn't care if it stresses you, hurts you, drains you, or keeps you stuck. It only cares that you've practiced it. Your brain follows repetition, not reality. Think of your thoughts like footpaths in a forest. The path you walk daily becomes clear, smooth, and easy to travel. The path you avoid becomes overgrown. Overthinking is simply the path you've walked too many times. Clarity is the path you forgot existed. But here's the part that shocks people the most. The moment you choose a new thought, a new action, a new response, even once, you start creating a new pathway. The moment you interrupt an overthinking spiral with a deep breath or a grounding thought or a small action, you weaken the old route. Your brain doesn't stay loyal to your patterns, it stays loyal to whatever you repeat. Imagine your brain like a GPS that constantly recalculates. If you keep entering the same destination, fear, doubt, worry, it automatically guides you there. Not because it's the right place, but because it's the place you've entered the most. But the very second you input a new direction, trust, clarity, intention, it begins recalculating again. Your brain isn't fixed, it's programmable. And you've been programming it your whole life without realizing it. The biggest shock? Your brain does not know the difference between a thought you choose and a thought you fear. If you imagine failure 100 times, your brain thinks you've lived it 100 times. If you imagine rejection repeatedly, your brain prepares you for a danger that doesn't exist. But if you imagine confidence, safety, solutions, your brain begins building those pathways too. Your mental habits decide your mental reality. So the question is no longer, why do I overthink? The real question is, what path have I walked so many times that my brain memorized it? And what new path am I finally willing to build? What if the clarity you've been searching for was never hiding in your thoughts at all, but in the actions you kept postponing while waiting to figure everything out? What if the real reason you overthink is because your brain is starving for movement, yet drowning in mental noise? Here's the shocking truth most people never hear. Your brain is not designed to solve problems by thinking endlessly. It's designed to solve problems by engaging with the world. The longer you stay inside your head, the more your mind invents problems that don't exist. Overthinking is your brain trying to protect you without having any real data. When you don't act, your mind panics. And when your mind panics, it fills in the blanks with fear. Imagine you're standing in a dark room. You can guess what's inside. You can picture monsters. You can replay every scary possibility. But the moment you turn on the light, even if what you see isn't perfect, you instantly stop imagining the worst. You don't stop overthinking by sitting still and forcing peace. You stop overthinking by moving just enough that your mind realizes, oh, we're actually doing something now. We're safe. The moment you take even a tiny step, sending the message, making the decision, writing the plan, getting up, moving forward, your brain shifts its identity from a worrier to a doer. And doers don't drown in thoughts, they rise above them. What if the thoughts that keep you awake at night aren't actually problems, but signals your brain is sending because it doesn't know how to shut off the alarm? What if overthinking is simply your mind stuck in danger mode even when there is no danger at all? Here's the shocking truth. Your brain is not overthinking because it wants to stress you. It's overthinking because it thinks you're unsafe. Every worry loop, every repeated scenario, every what if something goes wrong is your brain trying to scan the environment for threats. It's your survival system malfunctioning. And when your brain feels unsafe, it presses the panic button again and again, creating endless mental noise. But the most surprising part, your brain doesn't need a real threat to activate fear. It reacts to imagined danger exactly the same way it reacts to real danger. That means a thought like, what if they don't like me, triggers your brain the same way as, what if there's something dangerous in front of me? The brain can't tell the difference. Overthinking is simply your survival system being too sensitive. But here's where everything changes. The moment you ground your body, your brain receives a signal that the danger isn't real. And that instantly begins breaking the worry cycle. Because your brain listens to your body more than your thoughts. If your body is tense, your brain thinks something is wrong. If your body is calm, your brain stops sending fear signals. Imagine this, your thoughts are running, wild, spinning scenarios, jumping to conclusions. But when you slow your breathing, unclench your jaw, relax your shoulders, or place your feet firmly on the ground, your brain recalibrates. It says, if the body is calm, then we must be safe. If we're safe, we don't need to panic. If we don't need to panic, we don't need to overthink. This is the shocking secret. Nobody teaches you can break an overthinking loop without even touching the thoughts, just by calming the body. A deep breath is not just relaxing, it's a neurological interruption. A grounding exercise is not just self-care. It's a command to your brain to shut off the alarm. Your body becomes the reset button. Overthinking is not a thinking problem, it's a safety problem. And the moment your brain feels safe, the thoughts that once screamed suddenly have nothing left to say. What if the reason your mind won't stop running isn't because you think too much, but because you don't feel safe enough to stop? What if your brain isn't addicted to worrying? It's addicted to protecting you, even from things that no longer exist. Here's the shocking truth most people never realize. Your brain only calms down when it believes you're safe. Not when you tell it to relax, not when you force positivity, not when you distract yourself. Your mind settles only when your nervous system feels protected. When that safety is missing, the brain goes into hypervigilance, constantly checking, scanning, analyzing, predicting. That's overthinking. It's not a flaw. It's a survival strategy stuck in overdrive. Think of your brain like a security guard who never got the memo that the danger is gone. It's still pacing the hallways, watching every shadow, preparing for worst-case scenarios because it doesn't trust life yet. And why doesn't it trust life? Because no one ever taught you how to build internal safety. You learned how to survive chaos, but not how to regulate peace. Here's where it gets even more surprising. Your brain doesn't look for safety outside. It looks for safety inside. It watches how you treat yourself. It listens to your tone. It notices whether you rest, breathe, or pause. If you rush, your brain assumes there's danger. If you criticize yourself harshly, your brain thinks someone is attacking you. If you never slow down, your brain thinks you're running from something. Without internal safety, your mind stays alert. Overthinking becomes its shield. But the moment you create intentional routines, those small rituals you return to every day, your brain starts to relax. A morning routine tells your brain we're in control. A nightly wind down tells it we're safe enough to rest. A self-kind thought tells it we're not under threat. Consistency is what convinces the brain to stop scanning. Here's The shocker, your brain doesn't need perfect conditions to feel safe. It needs predictable ones, a 5-minute breathing ritual, a daily journal dump, a set time to unplug, a grounding technique before sleeping. These small repeated habits act like anchors. They tell your nervous system you're protected, you're supported, you're okay. And once the body believes that, the mind finally stops rehearsing danger. Overthinking doesn't disappear when life becomes easier. It disappears when your brain stops bracing for impact. When it finally feels safe, not outside, but within you. What if the 30 minutes you waste scrolling, worrying, replaying conversations, or imagining worst-case scenarios could actually be the 30 minutes that rewire your entire brain? What if the peace you're begging for isn't something you find someday, but something you train your brain to feel every single day? Here's the shocking truth. Your brain resets faster than you think. In just half an hour, you can interrupt old patterns, break mental loops, calm your nervous system, and create entirely new neural pathways, not in months, not in years, in minutes. The problem is no one ever told you that your mind has a reset button because you've been too busy surviving to ever stop long enough to press it. Your brain learns from repetition, not from big life changes, not from motivation, not from waiting for the perfect moment. It learns from the small rituals you show up for every day. And when you consistently give your mind the same 30-minute routine at the same time, with the same intention, your brain begins to trust it. Trust leads to safety. Safety leads to clarity. Clarity ends overthinking. Here's the shocking part most people overlook. Your brain doesn't need a long ritual, it needs a consistent one. You could spend 3 hours on self-help once a month and nothing will change, but spend 30 minutes a day, every day, and everything shifts. Because what rewires your brain isn't intensity, it's consistency. Imagine this. For 10 minutes, you calm your body. Your brain receives the signal, we're safe. For the next 10 minutes, you empty your mind onto paper. Your brain releases the pressure it's been holding. For the last 10 minutes, you choose your thoughts intentionally. Your brain begins memorizing a new pattern. And if you repeat this tomorrow and the next day and the next, your brain stops spiraling by default and starts stabilizing by default. What once triggered you won't hit the same. What once scared you won't feel threatening. What once overwhelmed you will feel manageable. Not because the world changed, but because your brain rewired its response to it. Here's the part that shocks people the most. You are only 30. In the end, everything you're fighting inside your mind comes down to one truth. You are not trapped by your thoughts. You're just following patterns that were never chosen intentionally. And the moment you decide to interrupt even one of those patterns, your entire mental reality begins to shift. You've learned that overthinking isn't your identity, that your brain rewires with repetition, that clarity comes from action, that grounding breaks fear cycles, that safety calms the mind, and that a simple 30-minute ritual can transform everything. None of this is beyond you. None of this requires a perfect life. All it requires is you choosing a new path one moment at a time. You have more power over your mind than you ever realized. And the moment you choose to use that power, even for a single day, your brain starts becoming the place you always wished it could be. Thank you for giving me the chance to guide you through this journey. I'm genuinely proud of you for wanting to understand your mind, not just escape it. You're far stronger, far wiser, and far more capable than your thoughts sometimes allow you to feel. Keep choosing growth. Keep choosing awareness. Keep choosing yourself. Good luck. May your mind become your greatest ally, not your loudest enemy. And thank you for trusting me to be part of your transformation.